Hello everyone. So, Jeremy Clarkson, as of this current time, is under investigation. And frankly, I don't know what's going to happen. But there's something that's turned up. Well, people have been interested in this. Apparently, there has been a petition going around which has 1,500 signatures. That's not very many. Well, actually, let me look it up. It shouldn't take me too long. But it has signatures for Allan Partridge, of all people. He's actually a fictional character, to become the next Top Gear presenter. Let's see. Yeah, 15,000 signatures for Allan Partridge. Now, Allan Partridge is a fictional character played by Steve Coogan. Frankly, I want neither of them. And if the BBC decide to do that, they are going to kill Top Gear. If people say, we want Allan Partridge to take over Top Gear. No, for two reasons. One, Top Gear is a factual program. I repeat that, a factual program. They do car reviews, very good car reviews of actual cars. Okay, some of the challenges are ridiculous, but 90% of the time, when it comes to car reviews, most of the things they say are fact. It is a heavily scripted program, that is true, but putting a fictional character into the Top Gear ethos, the way of doing things, would break Top Gear. It would no longer be Top Gear. It would be a parody of Top Gear, and nobody would watch it. I would not watch it. I'd just watch the repeats on a channel called Dave, which we have, which basically repeats Top Gear 24/7. And well, let's put it this way. If Jeremy gets told to sling his hook, which is, I'm not sure. We don't know the whole details of what happened. I don't think that they're going to be silly enough to tell him to sling his hook, because he is one of the most... Top Gear makes the most money in the BBC. That and Doctor Who. Oh yeah, and Sherlock. Those are their three main big franchises that make money. Top Gear gets sold across the world. Doctor Who gets sold across the world. And, oh, yeah, Sherlock gets sold across the world. Not likely that they're going to get rid of one to only have two franchises, because the other tries at making new franchises, things like I can't remember them because they're so... The Musketeers. Watch that. That's a load of crap. It's honestly the worst... It's trying to be something that the BBC can't do, to be honest. The BBC can't do how the Americans do their shows. They just can't do it. They cannot do the slick show. They do slick shows on things that are odd. Things like Top Gear. I didn't think that would be a slick show, but it has grown into a slick show. If you saw the first couple of real seasons of Top Gear, it changes from season to season to season. It gets better and better and better. The cinematography, the jokes, the way things are done, the the ethos, the style of the show changes from season to season to season. And the reason you can watch back old episodes of the new Top Gear is because basically it's a comedy show. It has 3 segments. Basically, the first segment can either be a car review or first part of a challenge. Middle segment, the news. Basically, you've got things like the basic news of the day that they have a laugh at the news, which is really, really funny. The third segment, second part of a challenge or another car review, or they start another challenge. In other words, they start a challenge from there and they have a car review first. Then there's the fourth segment, which is the start in a reasonably priced car. Basically, they have a track called Dunsfoot Park. If you've watched this, you know the way it's done. It's a 4-act structure, and it's an hour program. That costs money, and they get their money back. I reckon they get their money back a lot from what they do, which I'm glad that they do, because that show, even though it seems it's not as expensive as something like Doctor Who to make, but I wouldn't say it's a cheap show either. I feel that kind of show is important for the BBC to have. If they take away Jeremy Clarkson, they're not going to have that show anymore. Okay, I love Richard Hammond and James May. They're great guys. They know what they're talking about. But they're awful when they don't have Jeremy Clarkson with them. There is a DVD out there called Apocalypse. Top Gear Apocalypse. It's awful. I know that what they're trying to do, they're trying to work off each other. It doesn't work. I own the DVD and I watched it once and went, I know what you're trying to do, but you don't work off each other well. Jeremy off Richard Hammond, yeah, that works. Jeremy off James May, that works. You've got to have the over bombasticness of Jeremy Clarkson. And I think if they get rid of him, you can call time on the Top Gear franchise. Unless they bring him back. And I really think that I don't think there are shareholders in the BBC, but there is a board of directors. There will be questions if Top Gear fails. And I have a funny feeling they will not want Top Gear to fail. It is too much of a money maker to fail. Doctor Who could fail. Now, this is something I'm going to say. Doctor Who could fail. They could have 2 bad seasons. And that could mean numbers drop and not good. Sherlock, it's a heavy price show. And there's only 3 episodes a season. They cost a lot of money to make. They get their money back, but they don't make as money. I don't feel they make as much money as they do with Top Gear. Top Gear, you've got a lot of episodes. You've got a lot of stuff that you can sell. You've got DVDs. You've got T-shirts. You've got everything. With Sherlock, you don't have that. With Doctor Who, you have the toy line. But yeah, I just feel that Top Gear is their biggest franchise at the moment. Their news service at the moment is a load of rubbish. Sorry, I'm taking off to a different part of the ethos here, but I feel that Top Gear, without Jeremy Clarkson and with Allan Partridge, I'd watch it once and then I wouldn't watch it again. I can tell you, I'd try it once, because the problem with having Allan Partridge played by Steve Coogan, is that the show is scripted as it is. Top Gear is scripted. But you've got a character in there that lives off a script. It doesn't work. Steve Coogan is different to Allan Partridge. So I feel that if people want Allan Partridge, they don't want Steve Coogan. And that's what probably the BBC might do if this petition gets a lot more interesting, as in a lot more people go for it. I personally feel, is there anyone to replace Jeremy Clarkson if the BBC decides to get rid of him? I don't know. I don't think there is. There is nobody out there that I know of who's got the sensibilities of Clarkson. I read his books. They're hilarious. But they're also factual. They're very... He's got a good sense of humour, but he has done documentaries, and he is very clear about what he can do as a He's a brilliant person to have in a documentary. If I ever had a chance to say, if somebody gave me a prize and said, you can have anyone and do a documentary about anything, I'd say Aston Martin's and do it with Jeremy Clarkson and go. Just go. Let him run the documentary, as in, let him work through each step of the documentary. And if I was told I could direct, and I'd say, no, Jeremy Clarkson's directing, not me. I'm just saying, get him, get Aston Martin's, go. That is how good of a person for a documentary he is. Richard Hammond, he's good as well on his own. James May is good as well on his own. As a team, they're brilliant. As two, with Jeremy Clarkson, they're brilliant. As Richard Hammond, James May on their own, they're not so good. It doesn't work. They both are too friendly to each other. I know they're all chummy, but it's more... Jeremy Clarkson is the asshole in the group. There is always an asshole in a group of friends, and Jeremy Clarkson is the asshole. There is no one who could replace the asshole in that group of friends as well as Jeremy Clarkson. They could try. Oh. Yes, I think I know who I'd want to do it. I know it'd be silly. Chris Barry. Now, if you don't know who Chris Barry is, find Google. I might put a picture up of him. He is the person who played Rimmer in Red Dwarf. I'd say he is not an asshole, but he could do it. He has got the sense of humour. He's not got quite the sense of humour of Jeremy Clarkson, but he's got a sense of humour that is... It would change the show, but not for the worse. It wouldn't change it for the worse. It would not improve it, though. It would just... You'd see a dip in quality when it comes to jokes, but you would still have a good show. Those three, Richard Hammond, James May, Chris Barry, on a challenge, I'd watch it. I don't know anybody else would, but I'd watch it. I just don't want Allan Partridge. I don't know who the hell thought this petition was a good idea. It's not. We don't know what the BBC are going to do yet. I think they're being silly. The BBC are not going to get rid of Jeremy Clarkson. It's just not going to happen. There is no way that Jeremy Clarkson is going. Saying that, well, let's put it this way. He has not done something as bad as... Oh, what's his name? Oh, he's married, but everyone thinks he's gay. He plays off gay. No, don't know his name. I'll probably... No, forgot his name. No. But he's on ITV and he's pretty crap. He used to be on the BBC and he was still marginal, but now he's doing the same show on ITV, and frankly, I don't bother watching it. I don't know. I think the interesting thing I think about this is that Jeremy Clarkson initiated the intervention. I want to know why. I want to know from Clarkson's mouth what the hell happened. Because he's being cagey about it. He's having fun with it. I can see where it's coming from. He could lose his job. I don't think he will. He's too big a face. It'll be like firing Benedict Cumberbatch for tripping over a step. It doesn't work. Jeremy Clarkson is the way he is. He is a famous star. He has made the Top Gear brand. Top Gear was a brand before Jeremy Clarkson came along. There is a load of seasons going back to the 60s, I think. But he was in that show in the 60s. I've watched a couple of the really old episodes. He's in it. He's not the same as he is today. His same sort of sense of humour is there. It's a lot calmer in the older versions. But you can tell where the new Top Gear came from. Because apparently... Sorry, I'm waffling a little, but I feel I need to say this. Apparently it was a Vauxhall Skoda. No, Vauxhall Skoda. Yeah, that's a car make that exists. Some sort of Vauxhall that he got told to test drive, and he couldn't do it because it was so boring. He quit the show in the early 90s. Well, late 90s actually, around about 97 I think it was that he quit. I'm not sure. People probably will say in the comments, yeah, it was this date. I'm not an aficionado of the older Top Gear. Then in 2000 he got Top Gear back on, and to begin with it was similar to the old Top Gear, but they had a studio, they had a track, they did things differently from the older Top Gear, which basically was on the road all the time. They had the odd tracks where they went to a track that wasn't theirs. They had a track, I think they had a track built for the new show. That's how much I think I'm not sure if it was Jeremy Clarkson, but somebody thought this could work, and it does. If the BBC think that they're going to get rid of it, I think they're wrong. I think they're fools if they get rid of him. I really do. I don't know. Will Top Gear survive? Well, we've lost pretty much 98% of the season just gone. Last 2 episodes are gone, so... Which is going to be interesting. What could have been, sort of thing. I think he said... Well, no, let's leave it at this. Thank you for watching this video where I say do not want Allan Partridge, but thank you for watching. Goodbye.